We all good?
Ballin'.
Okay, so the topic is anarcho-capitalism. I don't know if Hampton and Yuri have a constructive plan down, or
I
Hampton does.
made an
He
opening
wants to wing
statement.
it. You did?
Yes, it's.
Also, before we start, we are sponsored by.
Well, I'm actually just using.
Coca-Cola.
I'm reusing an old one from a while ago, but
I'm sure you are, but before we start, we are sponsored by Coca-Cola. I'm gonna take a sip.
wait, where's Jack?
I'm stalling because I think you.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I'm winging it. I want to kill myself. I hate anarcho-capitalism.
Where did he go? Where did he go?
So yeah, buy Coca-Cola. We don't like Colombian workers at Verbum.
Based. Workers' rights are a spook.
Agreed.
Now, before again, I'm definitely not stalling for Jack to get here, but buy Coke. What is it? Original taste. It's really good. Okay. I'm tired.
There we go. Okay, Jack, you ready? Is your Wi-Fi okay? Everything doing okay? Yeah.
Okay. Is my mic?
Yeah, your mic is fine.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. All right. Okay. Serious apologies for my very fucked up schedule. Should me and Venya do our opening statement?
No, I think they're going first.
Yeah.
okay. Do I go?
Sure.
Okay. Where's it? Okay, yeah. Anarcho-capitalism is by far one of the most hated political ideologies to exist, and definitely the most misunderstood. With only 2 words in its name, they're the most divisive political words of all. The right hates anarchy, and the left hates capitalism. This alone is enough to make everyone who hears the name stop in their tracks, plant a flag, and refuse to understand any further. Today, me and Yuri will attempt to dismantle any counter-argument put forth against by our opponents, and to explain concepts properly, or explain concepts that they will inevitably fail to understand properly and critique. The ones who attempt to disprove anarcho-capitalism by asserting that it is a contradiction is guilty of one thing, that which is ignorance. As me and Yuri are both Hoppians, we will approach anarcho-capitalism's quote-unquote problems divergent of other positions. That's it. I couldn't figure out how to conclude it, so
Yeah.
left it.
Jack, you want to go say the opening statement, or? Jack, you want to say the opening statement?
Buy Coke.
Wait, hello?
Yeah, you're
your neoliberal corporatist.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, Venya, can you do it? I'm so sorry. My mic is fucking. My computer is just loading up, but you're in the dock.
Yeah, you're good, Jack. You're good.
Okay. So capitalism is a system built off contradiction and is bound to collapse. Without a single exception to the law of contradiction. We encourage any and all people to embrace communism and the next step after capitalism. We reject the capitalist mode of production for its devastating effects on the psyche, social relations, and people's lives. The autocratic reign of bourgeois society has turned us into cogs in the capitalist machine, and has eroded our psyches and lives and in relationships between people mitigated by signs and symbols, and rips apart our authenticity through alienation of our species' essence. Capital, defined through private ownership and market forces to distribute goods, has such horrible psychological effects on the nature of our existence. Work, alienation, desire, modification must not be allowed and should be opposed. Anarcho-capitalism is wrong because it furthers these horrible things that ruin our own existence, and we will defend the position as opposition to anarcho-capitalism, attacking its basic fundamentals that is self-ownership, property rights, all the others things like the voluntary, the not really existent voluntary aspect of its existence. We hope you have a good debate.
Venya and I will also And Vinny and I are also not holding loyalty to any system. So we aren't necessarily arguing for anything, rather just arguing against anarcho-capitalism.
Sure.
Okay. Would you like to get us into our first contention with we
So
can
so
go
yeah,
into the critiques
um,
of capitalism or anarcho-capitalism itself, whatever you want to start with.
Wait. What'd you say? I wasn't paying attention.
Do you want to start with the critiques of capitalism as a whole or anarcho-capitalism specifically?
Well, the debate's kind of on anarcho-capitalism, so anarcho-capitalism.
Okay, sure. So, one of the concepts that are within anarcho-capitalism is the axiom of self-ownership,
yeah,
which we reject on the simple basis that ownership requires a third party, and that means really it's a holistic thing that doesn't have any value to hold as an existent thing, as well as it just being more of a spook than anything else, as there is no basis as to why I cannot violate your or not violate any basis for self-ownership aside of argumentation ethics, as well as if you try to get over the semantical critiques through things like Stirner's ownness, it only critiques capitalism further. And so because of that, the fundamentals of anarcho-capitalism crumble very quickly.
Okay. Can you repeat what you said? Sorry, I'm fucking tired.
Self-ownership, the word ownership implies a third party, and there's only one
What third party?
A third party. So if my phone is owned by me, I'm the third party owning the phone. There's only one party in the ownership of the self.
That makes absolutely no sense fundamentally.
Jack, you want to go into that? Yeah. People calling you racist.
yeah. So, for example, the third party when it comes to owning yourself, right? So the axiom of self-ownership is something that's used to explain voluntarism. But me and Benya also reject the idea that any society, including but not limited to anarcho-capitalism, is voluntary, because for a truly voluntary society to exist, it must not be a society, and there must be no birth, as birth isn't something that's consensual and voluntary. It's something that is coercive.
Right. So you're conflating like natural coercion to artificial coercion. Like
Coercion is coercion.
Right. But you can't eliminate like natural coercion. You cannot eliminate the fact that you are born. And you cannot.
Well, it's a violation of your self-ownership to be born
birth.
because you never consented to it. It's a violation of the non-aggression principle.
You didn't even exist prior to your conception, prior to your birth. So
okay, well, any action that I do not consent to as a newborn, or I'm not conscious.
Hold on.
Well, you're not able to think. You're not able to think rationally. You're not able. Hold on. You're not a rational human being. You're not able to physically consent and make decisions by yourself and think rational human thoughts. So of course you're going to be under the own supervision of your mother. That's exactly kind of nature. That's natural. You trying to eradicate nature?
Wait, okay. So if you admit that you can't consent, if you admit that you can't consent, then why should we allow this, right? For example, if I'm going to do something or somebody, but they are unable to consent to it, the permission to do it, it does the opposite.
We're talking in the context of a newborn child. We're talking in the context. Hold on, no. You brought up of you like not even existing prior. Like you brought up how like you didn't consent to being born. You can't consent to something. You can't consent if you're not alive, if you don't even exist yet. So I don't understand how you're trying to make this. I don't understand how you're trying to make.
Hold on.
Well, as a being, you didn't consent to your birth.
Alive when you're in the womb.
Right, you're not able to like.
But
think
you're still alive when you're in the womb, right? Your life begins at conception.
Yeah.
That's the issue. You can't consent, but that doesn't give someone permission.
Because you don't have the mental capability to do so.
So does that mean we can boss around and do whatever we wish to?
That's exactly our point, right?
So,
for example, a dolphin cannot consent to sex.
Did you cut out?
Okay, well, in general,
I can't hear Jack. Is he talking?
I don't think he is.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. What?
You started. You cut off after dolphin cannot consent.
Well, why did it matter? Dolphins don't have rights.
Okay. Sorry, my mic is unbelievably. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dolphins or any being for that matter. We can talk about a person in a coma. A person in a coma does not have the current ability to consent to something happening to them. So should you just have sex with a person in a coma because they are not able to consent? This isn't like a reason to give birth because somebody is unable to consent. That would in fact be a reason to not give birth and not give birth to a society through the birth of individuals are unable to consent to being born.
So why does that matter if you're unable to consent to being born?
It's a violation of self-ownership as you prescribe. The difference in our society,
Right,
your
because it's
society, is we do not
involuntary.
care about.
Okay, first of all,
Yeah,
you said you said you wouldn't even defend a society. So.
Yeah, well, if we were to have a society, it would be not one
Yeah, it would
Right,
not
based
defend
off of
you
self-ownership.
specific system or lack thereof.
We wouldn't have a contradiction in our own
Then
beliefs because we do not
you
value
misunderstand.
self-ownership.
Yeah,
Well, how
we're
is
not
that
defending any economic or social system or lack thereof. We're going from critique from multiple different perspectives.
Right, I just don't see how this what's the word?
I mean, it's contradictory, right? You have self-ownership as something that is valued in the basis of all your society, like the NAP. It's all based off of self-ownership. What the problem is with anarcho-capitalism?
Not exactly. Do you know what the NAP is?
Yes, non-aggression principle. If you aggress another one's self-ownership, they are allowed to aggress back. Yeah.
No. No, the NAP is a moral principle which states that all initiations of force are immoral and it's justified for the person at the receiving end of it to take defensive action.
Yeah, so it would be immoral to inflict birth, which causes all the source of all pain.
Necessitates that it would be immoral to.
Wait, what did you say?
It would necessitate that it'd be immoral to give birth as it violates. Because if we allow people who are babies to have their self-ownership and non-aggression principle be violated, that opens up the possibility for everyone's self-ownership and non-aggression principle being violated, because it gives an arbitrary ground as to what quantifies the ability to be able to have your self-ownership be violated, have that be justified. Anything else to say?
Yeah, hold on, I'm trying to think.
What me and Vinny are getting at here is right. Anarcho-capitalism and Hoppianism specifically. Hoppe was a voluntarist, right? But he wasn't a true voluntarist in the sense that he wanted to not only get rid of the involuntary actions that people take or actions that infer his ability to make voluntary actions within a society. He refuses to acknowledge the source of involuntary actions, which is birth itself, because giving birth to somebody is a form of coercion. It is a form of natural coercion, yes, but this natural coercion is something that can be prevented by not giving birth, because giving birth is indeed an act of aggression.
So the alternative
when you
to
give
just
birth to
eliminate,
someone, there's no way to quantify pain to pleasure ratio,
hold on.
especially before they have lived their entire life. Hold on, especially before they have lived their entire life. When you give birth to someone, you are guaranteeing them that they're going to go through a great deal of pain.
All right. So if the alternative to this is to just correct me if I'm wrong, is to just eliminate the ability to give birth.
Yeah, so you have a contradiction, or you have a dilemma, right? You either violate self-ownership.
If this isn't applicable to another actual like ideology or system, why does it matter? Why are you trying to even make this? If
it isn't applicable to another system, because no other system values self-ownership as anarcho-capitalism does.
I mean, minarchism values self-ownership.
Well, it's applicable to different
right-wing libertarian,
right? But if it's not applicable to another system, how can you make this? How can you make this argument?
Because your ideology values self-ownership while other ideologies
Again,
don't.
we're not defending.
Right. So just because, so again, as I stated before, this is a form of natural coercion. Yeah, it's coercion in itself, but it isn't contradictory to the axiom of self-ownership because there's nothing you can do about it. What we're specifically looking at in a contradiction or a violation
Yes, you can.
is in a form. No, it's in a form of artificial coercion. That's what you have to demonstrate. And saying no, hold on, and saying that
Okay.
because we didn't choose to be here,
But
or
make
we
it
didn't
artificial.
consent to be birthed, that's a violation. Well, of course you like metaphysically couldn't. And that's a form of how you say natural coercion.
Wait. So do you subscribe to absolute free will?
What do you mean by that?
Like we have free will, and there's no determinism within our existence.
Can you elaborate?
So the idea of free will is that there's nothing, like every decision we made is upon our own free will, and there's nothing determining how we will act. So the idea that like you have our own genetics,
well, excluding the existence of the natural coercion, then yes. Unless like a form of artificial coercion is imposed and there's nothing you can do about
I
it.
have a question. In your opinion, what makes this? How is this not artificial coercion? Like what burns this?
Well, are you saying? Are you asking how birth is not artificial coercion?
Well, how is it not artificial coercion? Because
you
don't have to give birth. It is a voluntary action to give birth. It still violates. You don't have to give birth. Plenty of people don't give birth in their lives.
The action of continuing a species is natural. It is in human.
That doesn't matter if it's natural. It is. It's an appeal to nature. It's an appeal to nature. That doesn't mean it's justified.
Okay, wait,
natural.
hold on. This is Hampton. Hampton, this is just an Izot. This is just an Izot fallacy. Just because this is the way that it is doesn't mean that's the way that it should be.
Wait, what?
Just because we give birth and continue our species now does not mean we ought to do this. If there's a violation within your own principles of your ideology, your ideology collapses if it cannot keep a new system of labor or keep a new generation of labor. If it suddenly collapses because there's a contradiction, then it is not a sound ideology. If you truly valued self-ownership, you'd have to be antinatalist, which would come to the problem with that you would not be able to have a society that is
antinatalist. If you can't do
antinatalist.
anything about natural coercion, it doesn't matter.
It's not natural. Even if it is natural, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
It is natural. It is natural.
Okay.
It is in human nature.
That's an
there's nothing you
fallacy.
can. There's nothing you can change about it.
That doesn't mean it's good.
Okay, so the thing is Hampton, you proclaiming that this is natural coercion relies on the principle or relies on the claim that there's nothing we can do about it. But there is indeed something we can do about it, right? Like me and Venya have said this multiple times. You can choose to not give birth.
No, that's not what I'm giving
people to choose to not give birth because birth is the source of in the world.
Sure, you can do that.
You're saying that it's natural
coercion. That still doesn't violate the axiom of self-ownership. That still doesn't.
No, it does. It doesn't matter if it's natural. Okay, if we believe in self-determinism, a lot of our actions are determined by our own genetics, and that would be a natural violation.
Wait. Okay, Hampton, when do you become yourself?
Like, when do you become yourself?
Which one of us? Yes.
What is coercion after birth no longer natural coercion? Because I assume you would then be, unless you believe that all coercion after a point of birth is natural coercion. Does your parent have justification to have you be their property until they are 100 years old?
In like 3 minutes, we're gonna move on to the next contention because this is really going nowhere.
Wait, repeat what you said, sir.
So, at what point does the ability to be naturally coercive over your child, if this is justified, at what point does that end? If it's arbitrary and this is justification
until the child is able to live on his own.
That
And-
how is that decided? Is that at 2 years
Okay,
old when they're able
when
to,
is
or
that?
5 years old when they're able to be conscious? That is just completely arbitrary. And then they have the parents' justification.
Well,
to
it's okay.
prevent them from
You're
living
not
on
even
their
you're
own.
not even using common sense. Of course, a 2-year-old wouldn't be able to live on his own.
What
and
about an
provide for
18-year-old
himself.
that requires their children, or the parents require them to give 100, like a 99% of their income to them? Is that they're able to live
Again,
on their
that's a
own?
whole nother factor you're bringing in. You're just basing this all off assumptions.
No. Well, the problem is your justification for a natural coercion, being justified is totally arbitrary because it
How is
It
it
is,
arbitrary?
right? The
What
only
is
way
arbitrary?
there's no basis onto which you could prescribe that natural coercion ends. Is it after 18? Is it after 16? Is it after
No,
10?
it's a choice.
Wait. So what if the parents decide to never allow me to live on my own? Is that they could coerce me however they want? Okay, let's move on to another contention because you have never tried to that.
Let's move on to healthcare.
Let's move on to healthcare.
I think it's time
Okay.
to move on.
What else? Jack, you want to go into the psychoanalytical contentions? Jack.
Yeah,
And you guys are doing the actual philosophy part, bro. Me and Yuri were preparing for the actual the practicality of ANCAP and like the non-aggression principle.
We can go into that
Wait,
actually.
bro.
So, what are the issues with anarcho-capitalism? It's
Philosophy isn't relevant.
What did you say?
2020. I said philosophy isn't relevant.
Never said it wasn't.
Prepare.
okay. So, the issue with anarcho-capitalism that there needs to achieve it would have to be through revolution or some sort of dissolution of the state, which would inherently be involuntary because
Not at all. You obviously so to achieve anarcho-capitalism is the decentralization of the economy and political, how you say it, just like the politics. I don't know the exact word for it, but the decentralization of it through reform, or if you are an agorist, then through counter-economics.
So wait, through reform, that would require the state to agree to these. That would require the state to agree to these.
So how it's done is through a paradigm shift. Once that begins, basically education and understanding the state and capitalism itself, and understanding why the state is immoral and why anarcho-capitalism is the best basically end for society. Now, no way am I saying that this is possible within the next 100, 200 years. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. But this is how it would be, just like through normal ANCAP, excluding agorism, how it would be achieved through paradigm shift, electing officials that will decentralize the economy and politics to the point where the state will eventually become useless.
Right. Well, this also requires.
Wait, Venya, can I respond to this one?
Yeah, go for it. Good. Go.
Is he saying anything?
Yeah. So let's say this does require the voluntary of the state. Elect Hello.
Jack's cutting out. Is he talking?
Oh my god.
Okay,
Hello.
so I think I should. So the act of electing officials and putting through the process of okay, we can hear you now. You want to go through the contention?
Yeah. So what you described, right? Electing representatives or officials that would shift the paradigm or shift the Overton window.
No,
to
that's not what I said.
Decentralize
That's not what I said.
the economy. No, okay. What did you say?
No, that's not what I said. I said, what would first have to happen is a shift in the paradigm, and then officials like representatives would be elected.
So you haven't proven
the
as to why that
officials
paradigm
themselves.
shift happened.
The officials would not
Okay, so
shift
how do we-
themselves.
How do we get rid of the current state of affairs then?
Through electing representatives that will repeal pre-existing acts and implement ones that would decentralize everything.
Into the state.
What?
So we elect them into the state, which is okay. So we elect these representatives into the state, which is an involuntary, thing. You're using the state to get rid of the state, which, as a Marxist, I think is pretty based. It's just this isn't necessarily, upholding voluntarist principles and values.
Because you realize a voluntarist society can exist in a society within a society built upon compulsion. Evan, shut the fuck up. So saying that is like a contradiction to a voluntarist society would have to mean that we currently live in a voluntarist society, which is obviously untrue. And so, yeah.
Well, no, you're using involuntary. Do you believe that the ends justify the means?
No.
So how would you get to the end?
So do you believe that
they're not consequentialist, bro.
So here, right? What you're doing is you are in favor of using the state to abolish the state. So, if you were to be truly a voluntarist, you would have, again, an agorist approach, which is why I think agorists are at least more voluntarist than Hoppians are. But the thing is here, when you use the state, right, you're not upholding voluntarist principles. Even when you're outside of a voluntarist society, you need to use voluntarist praxis to achieve it.
You can't uphold
unless you're in favor of some form of accelerationism.
This would still be voluntarist.
Hold on. But unless you would be in favor of some form of accelerationism, but even then that requires the use of involuntary measures to create a voluntary society.
Okay, this isn't using involuntary measures to create a voluntary society. How it's electing representatives is done. What?
Wouldn't
Okay,
you
so
agree
you're
that
trying. So you're trying to compare. No, hold on. You're trying to compare the election of representatives to decentralize the economy to this how the state exists, which is through compulsion. That's not a comparison at all because there's two different exchanges taking place, and even then using the state or electing representatives in a society built upon compulsion, you cannot build a society. You cannot achieve a voluntarist society through how would this hold on. Let me backtrack here. So here, actually repeat what you said so I can know where to start because I forgot.
Okay. So I wasn't saying the thing that you said I was saying. What I'm saying is that if you were to truly hold voluntarist principles, you would be in favor of more of something of agorism than you would Hoppianism, right? Rather than using the current state to it would only be voluntary, right? For to use the state. If everybody agreed.
Okay, you're kind of strawmanning voluntarism. You're kind of strawmanning voluntarism.
But we obviously.
You're strawmanning voluntarism.
No, I'm saying that the means you use to get to this.
Yeah, you're strawmanning voluntarism.
The means that you use to get to this voluntarist society doesn't create. Okay.
No. You're strawmanning voluntarism. You're trying to assume that everything voluntarism is an actual means of achieving it, and that's not. Voluntarism is basically how a society is, or how a society functions, not to achieve it. So, basically, voluntarists.
Okay, so even but you are. Would you indeed be in favor of using the state, which is an involuntary thing, to achieve in a anarcho-capitalist society?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so then what do you think is wrong about, or like what do you think is involuntary about achieving a communist society or the existence of a communist society itself?
Wait, what'd you say? Wait,
Okay,
you weren't even
so
taking a
you're
position of an
using
actual ideology.
we're attacking.
In a couple of minutes, go on to the next.
Yeah, I know.
You strawman
Okay, no. So again,
voluntarism.
Hampton,
You're trying to assume that it's a means of
like I
achieving
said
something,
earlier.
which it isn't. Like, that's a complete straw man of voluntarism.
I'd like to address the.
Yeah, go ahead.
So again, me and Vinya, we aren't staying specific to one system. What we're doing is we're using any system we can to critique or anarcho-capitalism specifically. So
Wait, you said you
communism
weren't going
is
to do that.
one of the examples of this, right? We're going to be bringing up different critique the existence of an anarcho-capitalist society, right? So if you believe that we can indeed use involuntary means to achieve a voluntary society, what do you think is so wrong about achieving communism?
Well, it's not involuntary. We've never implied that. So it's not about the involuntarism.
You're trying to assume.
Wait, no, I'm asking what your issue is. No.
What did you say?
I understand that I strawman, right? I can on that. I understand that I strawman. I'm conceding on that, but what I'm asking you is what you think would be wrong about.
I have said a word.
Okay, what I'm saying here is I would concede on my strawman, right? Because you pointed out the strawman. That's fair enough, right? But what do you think is wrong about trying to achieve a communist society? Using the basis of this as voluntarism.
So, are you trying to imply that voluntarism is a means of achieving society? Because it isn't.
No, not. I'm asking you what would be wrong about achieving a society.
What would be wrong about achieving a communist society?
Yes.
My main critique of communism is the economics of it rather than how we will achieve it.
Well, no. Like the existence of it or achieving it, like through the lens of like voluntarism.
Again, you're trying to imply that voluntarism is a means of achieving something, which it isn't.
No,
and so
I'm just saying, right?
He's
we can look at it from the existence
using
of all.
Like whether it's justified or not.
No, he's asking what is wrong with using voluntarism as a mode of organization of communism, like having
voluntarily starting a commune.
I'm assuming.
Or Jack, are you saying like voluntarily?
That isn't what I'm asking now. What I'm asking here is why do you think like using using the ideology of voluntarism? Why do you think it would be bad to establish a communist society?
Well, if the society was done voluntarily, there's no problem with that.
Yes.
If it was agreed upon to start a commune.
So it is about establishment. It's about the means of establishing it.
No, that's like how
the
society is built.
You described, right, with how you want to achieve anarcho-capitalism.
No. It's a society. No. Voluntarism is not the means of achieving one. It's what it's built of, or the fundamentals of it. That
was hold on. Your critique of communism is that you wouldn't want to establish communism because or if it agreed upon members, right? But when you use the state to achieve anarcho-capitalism, this same applies. So this can be used as a critique of your system and the existence of your system, because the existence of no, it does. I'm explaining why. Because the existence of your system
and
your critique of establishing a communist society is that it wouldn't be voluntary.
Can you repeat what you said?
Sorry. Your critique of establishing the existence of a communist society is that. Okay. Is my mic okay now?
Yeah, I never said that was my critique. Yeah. You just asked me if looking through a voluntary lens would be like justified or not, and I said yes.
Hampton, because his mic keeps coming out. This is what he's saying. He's saying Wait, first, because I think this was what the straw man issue was. Are you guys okay with using the state to create communism?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes, but also no. Well, see, yeah, actually no.
Okay, so
Because
what
this is going off.
you
This is
guys
going off.
do,
The issue,
the
the issue with your idea of a paradigm shift,
is not good. Like
the issue with the idea of a paradigm shift is that it requires that paradigm shift to be towards anarcho-capitalism. The paradigm, like, it bases a totally, you know, not justifiable, but
how the paradigm would be shifted is like it's not forcing it upon others. It's educating people and basically teaching people that state's bad, capitalism good. We need to abolish the state.
anarchist consciousness.
No. So the issue is that you have the ability for the paradigm shift to happen, or which is required for you to be able to establish voluntaries to anarcho-capitalism. There's no ability for that to happen guaranteeably, which is the issue. Is that the ability to reach anarcho-capitalism in a society, one of, you know, say in the U.S., it would require that it would require that the paradigm shift happens, which is, I don't really agree with this connection, but like besides that, the issue with anarcho-capitalism is it requires a totally arbitrary reason as to why the paradigm shift would happen. It's a, you know, kind of slippery slope, because it assumes that if the state is bad, and people will be convinced that it will happen.
Well, it's convinced by how the process would ultimately start or is initiated is through parents. What's the word? Yeah, through like parents educating their children, and then from then on, and then other people being educated too. It's not imposed.
To the next contention.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else contention. The other contention, just with anarcho-capitalism as a whole, is the ability to abolish the current existing monopolies that exist right now. Right? I don't know if your paradigm should be able to abolish the existence of monopolies.
What monopolies? What kind?
So monopolies of coercion, even, but monopolies of efficiency nonetheless would still create monopolies of coercion because of their ability to outcompete the competition. And this would create.
That's a slippery slope.
How is it a slippery slope? You have to demonstrate why that wouldn't happen.
Okay, so why it would not happen is through profit, and yeah, mainly profit. Reputation is another factor in there, but particularly profit. And then we can go down the reputation first. So, actually, yeah, let's just do profit. So, let's say, let's take like a big corporation like Amazon, and they were living in the Ancap society, and they wanted to create a state. To do so, to monopolize force, you need to wage war. To wage war, you need, first of all, a shit ton of money. You need conscription and a form of, or you need taxation to help pay for this war. All three would be non-existent, seeing as this Amazon's existence is dependent on the government. And so that's assuming, that's assuming those factors. So let's assume that the corporation did have enough money to even monopolize force in the first place. It would not be in their interest because of war and how heavily unprofitable it is. So let's assume that it is in their interest. To monopolize force, you need to wage war. Where are you going to have to wage war to? Populated areas with civilians who own firearms, who own protection agencies and mercenaries through or communal mercenaries, basically. You're going to have to fight that too. Yeah, good luck with that. And so it's so incredibly de-incentivized in every which way possible. And to say that because it could spiral, or because a monopoly of efficiency could be created. And that's even assuming that a monopoly of efficiency would last in the first place, which is virtually unheard of. I mean, besides Rockefeller, and his monopoly of efficiency was good, and he was taken out by competition. Anyways, that's assuming
this has nothing to do with creating war and creating a new monopolies.
No.
We are simply
I'm addressing what you said.
No. The existence of monopolies of monopolies of efficiency, monopolies of coercion, there is nothing stopping them from
and that's a
expanding, because
fallacy. Saying that they would just because there's nothing stopping them is a fallacy. You have to prove how it. The burden of proof is on you to prove that they will.
It's within their profit motive to establish more monopolization of the market, and that would give them the profit motive would further the idea of
the market would exclude them.
Why would they exclude them? That's fallacious. They're saying
nobody,
they will.
Nobody
they should.
No,
they will.
I never said that they should.
What if they offer a better product for a lower price? Why would the market exclude them if it's not
reputation? Why would anybody buy from a corporation who is trying to monopolize force over you? Again, the reason people are in this society is to be free from coercion and compulsion. And if why would they participate in this when their whole reason they want to get away from it?
No. Well, if there's enough of a monopoly on efficiency, there will be no incentive.
Again, competition exists. That's a relying upon the assumption that it somehow will last, which you'd have to prove that it would. And again,
okay, I have productive forces that are no. But I mean, Amazon has productive forces that totally outcompete any other small business trying to sell off the same products they're trying to do. They will be able to have a much cheaper product, and it doesn't matter if you're saying it's voluntary. People can buy from the monopoly of Amazon and not be subjected to the monopoly of efficiency or the monopoly, the coercion coming from Amazon. There would be no reason as to why they wouldn't be able to expand, because there are productive forces being much better than that of other
they would
businesses.
They would be able to expand in the market, but coercively, not necessarily.
Well, this
because
requires...
again, socially they would, or let's make the assumption. Let's make the assumption that the market would exclude them. The reason being is that why would anybody want to participate and exchange with something that is a compulsive force that is a warlord? You understand that a rising warlord, does not achieve their means voluntarily and peacefully. They do not.
I'm not saying it has to be a warlord. It could be...
No, that's what they would. That's what they would be.
It would simply be a monopoly, and they would...
A monopoly of what? Efficiency or coercion? Okay.
Efficiency. But there's a reason... Okay.
But earlier you said a monopoly of coercion. I have no problem with a monopoly of efficiency. They are good. There's absolutely nothing
The issue is monopoly of efficiencies have a higher rate of profit than that of small businesses, which cannot compete at the same level that of these big monopolies of efficiencies.
Nothing is stopping them from entering the industry, and nothing is guaranteeing that they will be bought by the monopolized businesses. And even then, to assume that the monopoly would grow to such an extent that no business would be able to compete whatsoever, that they would be outcompeted, is just a flat out lie, because that's not the case. In fact, competition is what destroys monopolies without government intervention. Monopolies are perpetuated at the expense of other companies, which allows them to outcompete them and grow at the expense of the others. That is what perpetuates them. That is what allows them to do so. And even worse, it allows those companies to set their prices independent of the market, which makes it worse. So to assume that they would just magically be able to outcompete everything and be perpetuated by lowering their prices for such an incredibly long period of time is just a flat out lie. Because that empirically, that is never how it's never been done. And with Rockefeller, they were took out by competition.
Wait, I think what Venya is trying to ask here is, how can you assure that these will be taken out? Like, how are you going to get rid of the current state of affairs, and how are we going to assure that this is going to work, right?
What will get taken out?
How do we know? So this is more of a question of practicality of achieving it, right? So how do we assure that we are going to be able to break up these monopolies? Because some would say, I know...
Which monopolies? Monopolies of coercion?
No. Some anarcho-capitalists would say that it is impossible to escape the current state of neoliberalism, right? It would be because of the grasp that it has on people's lives. All it's going to do is try to reconstruct itself every single time
Right.
it has a failure.
Right. For
Because
them,
it does
for
like
these to break up these. Okay, so are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that these companies are a monopoly of efficiency to which they're not? They're like not. By some measure, sure they could be, but like to say that they are is a lie, because they're a monopoly over the market, which
yeah,
was
no.
created by government. And to break them up,
Ooh.
you need to remove that government. You cannot do it any other
Right.
way.
And what Venya or what I assume Venya would be asking here is, how do we assure we're going to be able to do that when the current neoliberal bourgeoisie has control? Sorry,
Because you
much of our
remove
lives,
to do
right?
so, you need to remove the government's power.
Wait, hold on.
All right.
Anarcho-capitalism has become a commodified ideology. It has become a commodified thing. You even have a anarcho-capitalist banner, right? Because it's become commodified. How are you going to make sure that the current neoliberal bourgeoisie, who is in power and who does not want to not be in power, by removing government intervention? How are you going to assure that they're not going to use the commodification of your ideology against you to the point where it's impossible to establish your ideas?
Who would be using it? The corporations or the government? Because the only reason the corporations have any political power is because of the government. When you remove the government's power, they do not have any political power.
Right.
They will not have
And how
they will
do
not
you
have
assure
any
that you're
influence
going to
over
be
you.
able to remove
The
government's
superstructure
power?
of the state and the economy would be not something you could take down by saying we remove the government. The government and the economy are intertwined at this point into the fact that
Yeah, that's
the
why
ex-
you have to. That's why you have to like slowly deregulate it,
so but
decentralize it.
they're
Right,
combined.
but the thing
If there's
is,
any
the thing is
grasp
here,
towards an
Hampton.
escape from the system, there'd be a grasp to reincent.
How are they combined? Because the bourgeois have an influence over political power. That doesn't
Yes,
make the
Yeah,
okay. So
no, it makes it
because like
nearly
okay,
impossible to establish your ideas.
what?
Sorry, that was a loud sneeze. It makes it nearly impossible to establish your ideas because of the fact that the current neoliberal bourgeoisie, they do not want to lose their control, whether this be through communism or through anarcho-capitalism, right? If you were to achieve anarcho-capitalism and you were to do away with government intervention in the economy entirely, which, I mean, I would critique the possibility of that, but that isn't the point that I'm getting at here. If you were able to do that, right, the neoliberal bourgeoisie currently would not want that because it is not within their interest. They're the people who have such a degree of power over
It
our
doesn't
lives.
matter
Some
if
would
it's in their
argue that
interests.
wait, listen. Some would argue that revolution and reform would both not be able to work because the current neoliberal bourgeoisie, they control the states, they control the economy. How are you going to assure that they will ever give it up?
Okay, that's trying to make the implication that they are the government because of how much control they have, and they simply aren't. Their power is nothing in
Hold on.
comparison
The
to what the
state
government
is
is.
organ of
They're just hold on, no. The government's the only reason they're able to shift it is because, first of all, they influence the government. When you remove the government's ability to allow this to happen, you remove their political, control.
And what I'm asking is, because they already control the state, how are you going to be able to assure
They
that you
don't.
will be able to get rid of the government's? No,
They
they
don't.
do, right? The state,
They're not. To say that they
the
control the
state,
state would have to mean that they are.
listen. The state is indeed an organ of class rule, right? The
Oh
existence
boy.
of a state is the product of the irreconcilability of class antagonisms. The existence of a state
Okay.
proves that class antagonisms are not reconcilable, and one class must take control of the state to subordinate the other, right? So if you believe anarcho-capitalism would be within the interest of all people, not only the bourgeoisie, but also the working class, right? The current neoliberal establishment does not care. They only care about what they want. And to deny that the neoliberal bourgeoisie,
Okay.
they don't control the bourgeois states around the world is completely false. Have you seen the
You're
influence that
ignoring
rich
two
people have
things.
over United
You're
States
ignoring
Congress, for
two
example?
very important things. You're ignoring two important things that I've already said. multiple times.
Okay,
The
before
first-
you go over those two things, I'd like to wrap this up within the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Those two important things, what I was talking about is a shift in the paradigm, where where a shift in the paradigm and now this is completely glossing over it to simplify it for time's sake. Now, don't like this is like so simplified. I'm just stating what would happen as a result to the shift, not how it would happen. What would happen is the interest of these people. Now, not all of the bourgeois, but through many of them, many small businesses, working class, the members participating would shift their interests towards anarcho-capitalism, elect in the representatives that will decentralize the economy. And yeah, that's the second. So the first one was the paradigm shift, and the second was electing representatives to decentralize the economy.
Jack, address this and then move on to another contention. First, what time do you guys want to end?
So
I
I'm
have
just
to
gonna-
go in about 7 minutes.
This doesn't answer my
Yeah.
question, right? You are saying how there would be a paradigm shift, but me and Venya's contention is there won't be. We are not able
How?
to escape
Why?
neoliberalism.
The burden of proof is
right,
on you.
but because what I have described, the existence of a state makes it so or proves to us that the state is a product of the irreconcilability of class antagonisms.
Okay.
To deny that the bourgeoisie has control of
I'm
the
not
bourgeois
denying
state
that.
from the world is fundamentally.
I'm not
untrue.
denying that. I haven't denied that at all.
Hold on. Listen, I never finished my point, right? You were saying that there would be a paradigm shift, but what me and Venya are arguing is that there wouldn't be, because the neoliberal
I need to explain to you why and how there would
they
be.
would lose their power.
Okay.
Because
You obviously
the
don't
state
know
is
what
an
the
organized
paradigm
class.
shift means.
But-
You didn't even listen to a word I said. You have not.
No, I did.
You have not at all. No, you haven't listened to a single word I've said in regards to that. What I said is the interests of them would switch. Now, I do not have enough time to explain how it would happen and why. I've already explained this, and you've completely ignored that. You ignored the fact that due to this paradigm shift, the interests of these companies, of small, big working class, would shift. You're ignoring that. And you're so and so how you call it, what's the word, the bourgeois having such a strong influence over the government, first of all, would have to mean that the bourgeois would have to be the government, or no, let me use your exact words, that the bourgeois control the state. That's what you said earlier. The bourgeois are not the state. The state has control over the bourgeois. The state is influenced by the bourgeois. That does not mean that they have complete control, as you said previously. So what this assertion, I'm explaining to you, first of all, how the paradigm shift, and I'm explaining to you prior to what you said is the fact that the bourgeois are first of all not the state, and the bourgeois do not control the state. There is a difference between control and influence. And to say that the bourgeois control the state would have to mean that they have more power than the state, which is just absolutely like this. It's just false. There's no other way to put it. It's false.
Okay. Okay. I suppose we should
Like a minute and then move on to the last thing. You guys can summarize arguments, points, but we have 4 minutes. Yeah, no, this is true. I hope that all of you know this. There was a better debate in this comment section from Habishu.
Yeah, they're debating the ECP in the comments.
And no, they were debating praxeology.
Is it perceived as
million times better.
But Venya, would we like to move on to our psychoanalytical critiques?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
the psychoanalytical
end with that.
The psychoanalytical critiques don't necessarily critique anarcho-capitalism, but capitalism as a whole. Which I guess you don't want to really go into, but
I don't think me and you're actually prepared for this. I mean,
you don't be, even if you were prepared, you don't basically just have to say cope. You'd be coping to it. Work, alienation, desire, commodification, all destroy the psyche and make us nothing more than a cog in the machine, right? Work is itself, the involuntary labor, whether it's by society or by gun to your head.
Involuntary labor. Okay. All right.
Involuntary in the sense that if you don't do it, you will die.
Oh, okay. Oh boy, don't use that. Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. Here. This goes into natural coercion and artificial coercion. If man does not work, he will die. This applies to communism.
Work and labor
socialism.
are not the same thing. Work and labor. We are against work as an idea. We believe in labor, not work itself.
Friend, if you do not labor, you will die.
We don't oppose labor. We oppose work.
Yeah.
Work in the sense that it's involuntary labor. You could go to the forest and look for food for yourself to live off.
No, what they're saying is they don't want forced or coerced labor. I.e.,
that doesn't
they
exist.
just want regular labor.
Yeah, forced or coerced labor. What is that? Like you're just throwing these words out here with no explanation.
So work would be labor that is
essentially-
required for your own survival not required for your own survival outside of the existence, like for creation for another, for labor that is not for your self survival.
And this is what you call work.
Yes, as on a contrary to labor, which is the labor you put in to survive. Right, like I could go pick berries, but
so you think that we work for other people in our current system?
Yes, we
By
work.
what means? Like we are like morally obligated to do so, or that the fact that like the capitalist structure
requires. We could go off literally.
It doesn't require anything. The capital structure is I see.
Okay, well,
it
requires private property. That's an example of something that capitalism requires, right? Private property necessitates some form of
right,
labor.
but the structure,
Me
as
and-
in,
wait, hold on.
okay, oh my god,
me and Venya, we are anti-work, right? We do believe in full automation. We believe that to work in capitalism is to die. So we reject the false dichotomy of work or die. Obviously, that is indeed natural in survival, but this is something that can be mitigated. We can indeed abolish work, right? Because all human life from the very beginning of its development within capitalist society has undergone an impoverishment. More than this, capitalist society is death organized with all the appearances of life. Here is not a question of death as the extinction of life, but death in life, death with all the substance and power of life. The human being is dead is no more than a ritual of capital. Young people still have the stance to refuse this death, and they're able to rebel against domestication.
Okay.
Against domestication. Shut up.
Okay, you just went on a tangent there, which just like half of it wasn't even related to your original position.
Yeah, no, we're anti-work, right? So
all right, so let me address the first part because when I tried to talk, you just started talking. So the capital structure, I'm gonna take the position that it is natural. It is natural for one to exchange for the other, like for their how you say
fallacy.
Work. How's it? What?
Then is odd fallacy.
How?
Just because it is natural doesn't mean it should be continued. We offer a solution.
Did I say should? Hold on. No, I never said that.
You're saying it's natural, therefore it's justified. We're saying that even if it
when did I give it justification?
You said the natural idea of work. The idea of work is natural, and therefore
no, that's not what I said.
Go on with what you said then.
I said that what is natural is that we exchange, like, for example, like if I to progress through society and to achieve ends of something, it is done through exchange by the means of, if you do this for me, I will give you that in return. That is how you progress in society. That is how society has been doing this for thousands of years.
Yeah, me and
that is
an odd fallacy. Yeah, if it's been thousands, it doesn't mean we should continue doing this for thousands of years. We provided why it's a bad thing because of alienation and commodification.
Wait, repeat what you said at the beginning. You mumbled the first half. What did you say?
Oh, sorry. So just because it is happening and it has happened for thousands of years does not mean it's a good thing. It's odd fallacy. Why should we continue this? If you say it's natural, but why should we continue having these natural exchanges and do this for me, I do this for you? Why is that a good thing? You're only saying
because
that
it's mutually beneficial.
Well, I would say that it's not mutually beneficial if it's
It
because
is.
it's an illusion of mutual
No,
benefit.
if it wasn't mutually beneficial, then none of them would have benefited from the exchange. And to say that they don't is just a lie.
Wait, hold on. That implies that people in capitalism act rationally.
They do.
No, absolutely not.
How?
A majority of our
believe
thinking is
actually have a
subconscious.
study. I believe I have a study arguing against that. Can you? Okay. So, for example, even if it was mutually beneficial, Venya and I, we wouldn't necessarily care, right? Because just because it's mutually beneficial in one sense doesn't mean that it, can't be more mutually beneficial, right? Slavery was to a degree mutually beneficial, right?
No, it wasn't.
Slave,
Not at all.
yes, it was. No, hold
No,
on.
it wasn't.
The slave.
Nope.
Can
No.
finish?
Let me explain. No, you've
Yeah,
been
no,
talking over me this
Hampton,
entire
no,
debate.
no.
Jack has been
Wait,
talking
Hampton.
over me this entire debate.
Hampton.
Yeah, I know my
Okay.
mic is lagging. I
Put
apologize.
Hampton in his place.
But here, so slavery was to a degree mutually beneficial, right? The slave owner would get the products of the slave's work, and then the slave would get housing, food, shelter, etc. It wasn't or water, food, clothing, etc. Right? It wasn't necessarily good because it was mutually beneficial, but it was to a degree mutually beneficial. It was indeed coerced, right? But what me and Venya oppose is the idea of exchange. Me and Venya, we are, we think a better society would be fully automated luxury communism.
Hampton and prepped in the same sentence?
Bro, the only thing I prepped for was the actual actual practicality of it. I didn't prepare anything for like alienation
No, you're good.
and this at all.
We haven't
Because
even gotten
Yeah.
into like the alienation and like the Freudian shit.
Wait, Hampton, how long until you gotta leave?
4 minutes ago, but let me do this. It's fun.
It's
My
okay.
my parents are asleep. If I'm not loud, I'll be fine. Okay. So the exchange between the slave and the owner was not mutually beneficial whatsoever. The exchange between the slave and the owner was one at the expense of the other, which is not mutually beneficial. Saying that it is just rejecting the fact that slavery, first of all, is done at the expense of others. It has to imply that the slave actually gets something out of it, to which they don't. And
does the slave not get anything in slavery?
no.
The slave got the ability to
then
live. Would you not value that?
Wait, who?
The other
Yeah,
option
you
was
value
death.
life, but that still doesn't imply that still doesn't make the assumption that it is actually mutually beneficial. Not at all.
Wait, okay.
Well,
so
would
mutually
be.
beneficial means both sides are getting something good, right? I assume because you're
Yeah,
not
but when it happens at the
you
expense
believe
of others,
that
it's not.
having
It's not mutually
food-
beneficial.
Wait, hold on.
Oh
I
my
assume
God.
that because you're not an antinatalist, you would believe that having food and water and shelter are good things because you don't die, etc., etc.
When it happens at the
slave
expense
is
of
indeed
others, it is not
benefiting from
mutually
having
beneficial.
Hold on. The slave is indeed benefiting from having these things guaranteed to them, but the benefit does not take place in the sense that they're being coerced and they do not have any ownership in the products of their labor. And
First
a
of all,
series of other things.
holy crap. It is not mutually beneficial. For one, like you said, they are being coerced, and for two, that the exchange is happening at the expense of others. That is not mutually beneficial whatsoever. Not at all.
Exchange happens at the expense of another party.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it does, right? Because there's no way to necessarily quantify the benefit that somebody is going to get. There's no way that we can. Well, actually,
You can. And the reason,
both
oh
sides
my
are,
fucking God, Jack, you've been talking over me this entire debate. Holy shit.
Yes,
you can.
My mic
Because
is so loud.
to quantify that it is mutually beneficial is whether it was the exchange was entered voluntarily and that they actually did, if they actually did the exchange in the first place. That's the way how you quantify it. But the slaves did not enter that exchange voluntarily. They were compulsed into doing it. The slave owner grew at the expense of the slave. That is not mutually beneficial. No benefit was quantified.
Okay.
It was not entered voluntarily.
So do you believe that the slave is not benefiting when the slave is given in food and water and shelter?
Giving necessities isn't much of a benefit. It's more of just you getting necessity. It's really all it is.
Well, yeah. So, do you believe that getting your needs fulfilled, is that not beneficial to you? Like being alive and having the things you need to live. Like, okay.
So
not
are you saying that
not starving on the streets? Would you say that not starving on the streets is beneficial?
Yeah, but it's not
Okay.
mutually beneficial in the sense of exchange because none was taken place.
Well, yeah, but still, right? It isn't
No,
equally
not but
mutually
still.
beneficial because
No, not but still.
Well, yeah,
Not
no,
at all.
It still is. I mean, it's still an
No, it
exchange.
isn't.
It isn't necessarily like a voluntary.
It isn't an exchange. You just
right?
you simply
the
existing and
slave-
not
the-
dying
no,
isn't
no,
an
it
exchange.
It is by definition.
It is not.
Because
How?
the slave
How?
is still getting things in return for its labor. Or for the slave is still receiving food and water.
Receiving
and
the bare
Hampton,
necessities
how
to
is
survive
it
in
for
return of your labor. Okay, okay. For receiving the bare necessities in return for your for your labor. Okay, receiving the bare necessities for your survival in return for your labor at the expense of you. Whether when the slave owner goes at the expense of the slave, and where you did not enter that transaction voluntarily, is that somehow justified? Is that because it's somehow mutually beneficial because they're given the bare necessities, even though they were coerced, even though the slave owner grows at the expense of the slave? That is not mutually beneficial because they are given the necessities to survive. Does not justify it.
Right?
It does not. No, it doesn't. It's not at all.
Hampton, you can wait
Yeah.
your parents like that.
It cannot be mutually
but-
beneficial at all or equally whatsoever if the slave owner is growing at the expense of the slave. You haven't proven anything.
Okay, Hampton, you can leave whenever you want. When you do leave, me and Bleep will destroy the Marxists.
No, I
Yes,
agree with you
sir.
guys. No.
No. You have to.
I'm gonna have
Fuck
to
no.
go too because my Wi-Fi is shit and my computer is about to die.
Okay, we could have some random Marxist go and
Listen.
I'll
All
larp
the
with them.
Marxists in the chat, join, and me and Bleep will destroy you.
I just want to know where fucking neighborhood Hoppien went.
Yeah, why? This was a 2v1. What the hell?
Fucking disappeared, bro.
Bro,
It's
man
okay.
said one word.
He's not there. He's not muted.
Bro, this is. It's supposed to be a 2v2. It's literally a 2v1.
No, Hampton.
It's not my fault, Hampton.
He's
It's
not
just-
responding.
This is literally
You just-
violating the NAP.
Ебать сука.
Wait, yeah, can you and Vinya
It's like
debate?
Davis in that one debate.
Oh,
Vinya. Wait, Vinya, Hampton, start saying slurs at each other.
Сука, блядь.
иди нахуй, сука, ебать тебя. Дебил, ты дебил.
Дебил. Я русские плохие слова не знаю, потому что моя мама никогда их не учила.
Stop, fuck. I can't. My Russian's not good enough. It's terrible. I cannot stress how bad it is. Я не знаю.
Твоя мама homosexuальная.
Shut up. You're
Bruh.
racist.
Evan, how do
I
always
don't
see
know
you
what gay is
drinking?
in Russian.
Oh no,
Okay.
no, it's just gay. Like G.
I don't know.
Gay,
Half
yeah.
of Russian is just English, but like fucking
Yeah.
a little bit of an accent.
Ты говоришь русский?
No, it's Venya. It's
Alright,
just gay
alright,
with an
guys.
accent, with a Russian accent. That's all it is.
It's the half of
My
Russian is
computer
gay.
is
like
or-
gay.
my computer's about
Yeah.
to die, so I gotta dope.
It's like
but
too
I'll
gay.
see you guys later. Thank you for the debate.
Ты gay.
Yep. See ya. Yeah. No. Like you're gay is just like too gay. I think. Yeah.
Ты gay. You can't even
Ты
fucking
говоришь
speak it right.
русский?
Oh,
Да, говори по-русски.
Oh, not
More-
another fucking Russian. I can do Latin.
Shut up.
Bro,
no
why?
one asked.
Okay, hold on. Bro, you said hi in the entire debate and didn't say anything else, bro.
Dude, Hop is so cringe.
Okay,
Shut up.
goodbye.
Hoppa is an anarcho-monarchist. according
What
to
is this
fucking-
book? Don't read this. Don't ever get this one. This is so cringe.
I don't know.
Neighborhood
Hoppa-
Hoppien, any last
according
words?
to fucking Hoppians,
Marxists join.
according to Hoppians, Hoppa is a anarcho-monarchist because apparently he's an anarchist. But he also believes in private monarchies and feudal lords. I don't know. Sounds kind of
Wait,
anarcho-monarchist to me.
Yo,
Yeah, he believes in
that's a
private
straw
He
man.
monarchies.
never actually said that.
That's
he
a
was
straw man of
monarchist.
Hoppa. He wanted what was
Straw man.
voluntary communities.
Yeah.
basically to form. So it wasn't like a feudal like lord, or it wasn't. It was a voluntary community. Basically, like a group of people would come together, basically agree upon a set of rules. Like through contract, and to enter that community, you would have to agree upon the rules, which was agreed upon everyone else. And then you have to remember that all property is private property. Like each private property would have the same rule, or virtually like the same baseline rules as the other, because they were agreed upon. That doesn't make it feudalism whatsoever. It keeps the anarcho-capitalist like structure, but it's got a twist.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opposition to immigration. It's paleo-libertarianism. I would consider really anarchism though, because it's, you know, I was tempted to bring up the meme anarcho-capitalism is not anarchy, because the dissection of the word anarchy is no rulers, not voluntary rulers. But,
Yeah, see, I thought you were gonna do that, and I had like a whole thing.
I mean, am I wrong? Is the word anarchy, does that include voluntary?
Okay, let's look up the definition of anarchy.
It just means without.
No. I don't care about the definition of anarchy. I mean dissecting the word.
Okay, so anarchy comes from I can't remember if it's Greek or Latin. It's got anarchos, which is a Latin, or os is a Latin case of thing.
No, I mean the prefix "an" and the
right. So
suffix
"an" means
archy.
without. Archos is rulers. This does not mean without rules. And again, anarchy seeks to abolish like unjust hierarchies.
Rules only.
So first have to
No, it's not unjust. I mean, like, "an" means none.
Yeah, anarchy is like no
rulers.
No unjust hierarchies.
No. I don't want your anarcho-communist definition of anarchy. I mean, no and
This is
rulers.
the Ancap one. This is
No, it's the same one used by adcoms. No.
No, literally, listen. Get the USSR. Listen, if you like the USSR, if you are a Marxist, if you like Karl Marx, get in this chat so me and Blue can literally.
Do I LARP? I know talking points from being a tank.
You want to die?
Yeah, sure.
You want
Guys, the
smoke?
USSR abolished the commodity form in 1929.
Oh, if that's so.
There was no class, bro. I swear.
I forfeit.
We'll reach it by 2050. Trust me, bro.
All right, well, I'm gonna bounce.
See you, Captain.
Okay. Now, listen.
All right, we're kicking neighborhood Hopkins because he said hi.
No, don't.
He's still here. No, the kid is still here.
Okay, Marxists, get in here.
All right,
Do I
you
text
know who won that
Marxists?
debate? We already know who won that. Neighborhood Hoppian carried.
Neighborhood Hopkins is destroyed.
Yo, I prescribe to anarcho-fascism.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, guys. Vosh is an anarchist, guys. He literally said no more hierarchy.
Daniel, join. I know you're LARPing, but join.
Bro, we need some USSRs. We need some tankies.
Bro,
Easy cloud.
I could. You want me to tell you the talking points I know from
Guys,
talking to tankies?
happening in China.
Go through the talking points.
Just re-educate.
Okay, the 5-year plans said no commodity, therefore no commodity. Wait, would a 5-year plan be contradictory to the idea of commodity production? Because it'd be like having things that are commodified because of them being forcibly produced. Isn't that kind of?
It's just central planning for industry.
Yeah, it's cringe. What else?
Plus that doesn't imply that there's not a commodity. Things can still be sold for profit. It's just the government controlling what businesses output.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, get Finn. LTV.
He's live. Everybody go on to Finn's live and say
if I
join.
get wrecked, I'll debate him on the LTV.
Wait,
Don't you fucking subscribe to the LTV?
Bro, you said
Yes,
two
I
words
do,
at
but it
the
didn't
same time.
What's up, Daniel? No neighborhood option.
We're gonna physically remove him.
Yeah, I'm removing him.
Wait,
I know.
my mic works. Okay, so I consider myself a Marxist, a capitalist Marxist, a market cap. I mean, a market.
Oh,
I had a whole set of.
me too, bro.
Oh, so wait, you've obviously read the critique of the GF program, right?
Oh, I love this. It's, the
Whereas
critique
the
of the program,
normies
yeah.
call it
No, I love
the
Bismarck. And anything, I think Bismarck was the real Otto von Bismarck socialist of our time.
I will debate.
Is that what I actually don't know what the book's about? Is it actually just about like Bismarck's program? or has nothing to do with that?
The Gotha program. I think it was a program installed in like a social democratic program, or is they're talking about a different thing. Why is Kara's in here? She's like 12 years old.
Okay,
Yeah, no. All LARP is about drilling against Finn.
don't kick me out. I'm not 12 years old.
Okay.
No, but my ideology combines the ideas of Marxism with the ideas of Murray Rothbard.
Same.
Marxism,
It's a
Rothbardism.
synthesis.
Bro, Finn is on Omegle. He won't fucking see my comment saying to join the debate.
If you spam that,
Someone find him on Omegle
I am
and tell him to
spamming.
join the debate.
No, it's how hard is it to find someone on Omegle, buddy?
You from taking the grill pill.
If someone would debate me on guns without being like holistic with their fucking philosophy.
Based?
All right. Hampton, you fucking, if you're still here, dude, you suck at fucking defending Ancap. I don't know. That was like cringe as fuck.
I was no. If I had the chance to actually bring in critiques that weren't fucking just Ancap, I was like, I don't really give a shit about Ancap. Honestly, it's kind of cringe, but like, it's better built than like most capitalist ideologies. But like,
Bruh. Of course, it's the fucking minarchists. Oh my god.
oh, bro, I was DM. I was talking to comment section with fucking praxeology Scott, and I'm like, "Yo, isn't birth involuntary?" And this cat fucking says, "Yeah." So, Walter Block addressed this, and nothing more.
Wait, Evan, didn't you debate Scott after the pineapple debate?
Yeah.
How was that?
It's pretty.
He basically, yeah, he couldn't refute anything. I feel like, bro, the Ancaps, besides the correct ones, they're just fuckers. They're like, we'll defeat neoliberalism by taking down this. We'll we'll do that. Like, no.
Like, I don't even like the paradigm shift shit is such
Yo,
LARP, bro.
literally,
That's
how
not
did
gonna
it
happen.
take-
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the way we escape capital is grillism. Just saying.
You escape capital by no longer caring. It's how you escape
I
racism.
just want to grill, man.
Exactly.
I just want to grill.
Bro, I've been spamming this in his fucking live fucking
I
comments for
just
like
wanted to
5
debate
minutes now.
Finn on the LTV.
Don't kick me out.
Somebody FaceTime Finn.
Danny-
Somebody FaceTime Finn.
Danny-
I don't have Finn's phone number. Somebody FaceTime Finn.
Did you ban him?
Bruh.
Okay. If you believe this, you better solve the argument.
Yeah, solve the
Pineapple.
ontological argument I made. Me and Craig made against pineapple on pizza.
Wait, so how far can you apply the ontological argument onto like everyday debates?
Every means to inaction.
Based?
Wait,
So wouldn't debating also be have a negative ontology?
Yeah, it's a perf combat. That doesn't mean anything. Like, I'll concede what you're both doing is unethical, but then it's
Yeah.
just an equalizer. But we can quantify you doing unethical things, like just based on action. So if you do two bad things, that's obviously worse than one bad thing.
Yeah.
Wait, if Finn is writing an essay, then he can write an essay while I'm debating him.
Is he writing or is okay? I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna mute myself while I turn on the sound for.
Wait,
Finn's
can we end
debate.
broadcast because this is boring.
No, it's not our
I literally
broadcast.
just want people in here.
Wait, there's no Marxists here.
Yeah,
How are there not?
Because they're not Finn. We need Finn.
They're everywhere.
everywhere.
Because
Like the flu.
Yes.
It's
No. For your whole Anarcho-Capitalism, for your whole like thing with like the essay on the fucking program position, I don't care.
Roll in the USSR sympathizers. Take them down.
What
one
even?
by one.
I will LARP. What contentions are there with the USSR? I want to hear them.
Guys,
Like
oh my
what? It's bad, of course. You have your
Kai clips.
Is that the Kai clip?
Is that the Kai clips or is that
Kai.
someone LARPing because he muted himself?
Kai.
Hey, mamas.
Yeah.
God, you're on mute.
Wait. Finn, notice my comments. Oh, Finn might be joining. Finn might be joining. Oh, hold up.
Then yeah, nice.
Someone get that Marxist dude in here.
Yo, someone
He's gonna call everyone fake leftists. Let's go.
Yo, get crazy dude in here.
I want to debate someone on guns. I will destroy them all.
Yo, base?
Only Western capitalism is bad. Western leftist.
when capitalism with a red flag is on the east, it is good, bro. I swear.
Guys, critical support, but forget the critical.
All right, just as silent.
Finn is on Omegle. God fucking damn it,
Bruh. Marxist watching.
Where is Finn? Finn, bro, please. My fellow Sadian leftist.
Thank God we paid for it unlimited.
Evan, drop the StreamYard link in the chat. So if Finn sees it, he joins.
Let's get a Holodomer sympathizer.
Yo, please.
bro.
Is that Hunter? No, it can't be.
I don't know, bro. He's the only one with that picture, so.
Yes, he's on here. Here, Finn's on here.
Is that the Rhodesian flag?
Finn is here.
Daniel's Finn.
Is that the Rhodesian flag?
Bro, Rhodesians never die, bro.
I just wanted to say one thing to everybody, and I want you to hear me too. You guys, you're not a real leftist. None of you are real leftists. Only Bernie Bros are real leftists. Just to make it official.
Praxis is when you don't vote for the right candidate because ideals. What do Bernie Bros think they're gonna actually achieve?
That is the funniest shit.
I remember when I used to be a Bernie bro. I was like, bro, why the fuck are these cats not fucking voting Biden? Are they actually retarded?
Whoa. Yeah. It's not cool beans, dude.
Mentally deficient. Same thing. But bro, is Finn joining or not?
Finn, there's the link.
Finn, join the live. Join the StreamYard.
Oh, there he is.
Yes. Yes.
Ben, I think if we're gonna do the thing, we should start out with a quote. I'm gonna paraphrase. Yeah. It is only by way of pain that we get the pleasure. Marquise.
Yo.
Okay, so I'll just outline. Note, I do not believe this. I personally believe in the labor theory of value, but I want to LARP as a Baudrillian because I can. Okay.
What the fuck are we doing?
So
we're debating the LTV.
Oh, okay.
Again, I believe in the LTV. This is me LARPing. So if I get raped in the debate, don't be like, like, no, bro. I literally agree with that, but I want to LARP. Because I know any other person that understands Baudrillion's app will butcher it, and I'm not going to take that as producer one meaningful debate. So I'll read my little thing. The intrinsic theory of value, which Marx held, that is obviously socially necessary. Labor time produces exchange value, which does not apply to the sign economy. Signs do not have intrinsic worth. They are not produced by units of crystallized labor. Objects are signs which obtain their value from other signs. So we have to look at objects, as Baudrillard talks about the code, as coded objects of desire, right? Objects are signs. Their only value is sign value. Labor doesn't create sign value. No labor theory of value.
Finn wins. He won. He already won.
Yeah.
Yo, did anyone see Finn's goal?
Do you have any issue with that, Finn? Or?
I mean, I just don't think it's efficient in explaining.
How is it wrong, though? Like, I mean, it may not be able to explain commodity exchange, but like,
I don't think it can explain really anything in a falsifiable way. I think it's a good thing to talk about and like discuss when we're dealing with commodities and commodity production.
I mean, like, can you give me an example of a commodity exchange that isn't influenced by science?
A commodity exchange that isn't influenced by science? I mean, you'd have to prove to me like the objective existence of science first. Like, it's the point.
Yeah,
it's an
everything has like literally. This would be a perfect con semiotics. It's like a language is semiotic. You talking and referencing is semiotic. As long as you can see, as long as you can talk, hear, etc. If you can't, literally, if you are Helen Keller, you can still feel things. Okay. So I mean, yeah, that's your establishment of sign in terms of sign economy. We can see that obviously we live. Like, you're not going to deny post-modernity, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a society of simulation. Everything has a reference point. Nothing is original, sadly. And again, like, signs don't have intrinsic worth. So if we can just establish that sign value goes above, just commodities are signs, then all they have is sign value. Oh my God, why are these markers joining? I don't care. Nobody joined the chat.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, that's not sufficient enough in explaining why things would exchange at sign values. Like, the labor theory of value exists.
No. Okay, no. It's just a sign exchange, right?
No, but like, you need to provide a way to show how money can translate to sign exchange or represent.
Money is a sign.
Is a sign, then it keeps becoming unfalsifiable. There is no way to prove.
No, this doesn't make it theoretically incorrect. Like, I mean, you can be like, it's not falsifiable, but I would, as a based Austrian economist, would bring up the immortal science of praxis. Disregard that. I never said that. So now that we've established the full falsifiability of the unfalsifiable praxeology, I think I won this debate. No, but really, commodities are signs, and like,
I don't necessarily disagree that there is.
It's just about prioritizing sign value above other things. So Baudrillard is not denying that things can be exchanged at their labor value, or essentially as their labor value, but rather that signs predominantly take over. So it's kind of like, you know how and Daddy Cockshot, Daddy Paul, you know how in, like, the empirics are like what 0.83%, like labor. It's just saying like that 0.17% doesn't reflect it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, Marx was pretty clear that exchange won't always be reflective of labor value. So I don't necessarily disagree with the idea that there might be an influence of sign. I just don't think that there's sufficient evidence to prove that sign value has superseded, economies of use.
I mean, okay, but use value is like, it's not intrinsically, like, we agree that use value is socially contingent, right?
Right.
Okay, society is of simulation.
There are aspects of commodities that make the thing useful or difference in exchange, like
inherently, like, just by themselves without like society or people.
Wheat, for example, has a different exchange or quantitative exchange relationship than cotton. There's two very different quantitative relationships between the two things. So something in them is different, and that would be, in my view, the use value. I don't think sign value is sufficient in explaining why.
No, okay, what I'm saying is something having use is dependent on someone having a use for it, right?
Right.
Okay, so the person that determines use value is influenced by society, right?
I mean, to an extent, yeah. I mean, they're also influenced by their own need.
Yeah, and are subjective.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't change the. I mean, again, is it influenced by other outside factors? Sure.
What Baudrillard is saying is that it's a coded. It's referring to the code.
Mm-hmm. But again, there is a quantitative relationship that exists between things like wheat and cotton, and I don't think that the sign, I haven't seen any sufficient evidence to show that a sign exchange alone is sufficient in explaining why the two things would differ. Because again, like the idea,
why wheat and
idea
cotton would differ?
Because the idea of sign exchange, especially in regards to this, relies on the simulacra of society. So it's really just at this point becoming circular, and that sign value relies on sign value to exist, or sign exchange to exist.
No, literally, no, Baudrillard, that's what the simulacra is. It's a sign of a sign. It's how they endlessly proliferate. That's why we apply them to post-Fordist societies.
No, that's why it's more circular than it is explanatory. It doesn't actually.
In what way? Like, this doesn't disprove that we've always lived within signs, but sign doesn't need others. Like, for another sign to have value, there must be a sign that's not the same.
Because just saying, okay, something has a sign and exists because signs exist, if you don't have a root cause for it, like in the same way I can't.
It's market actors.
I can't falsify it in the same way you can't objectively prove it. So that's why we.
Like I already gave my Brenner proof for how semiotics is like a function. I just have to prove semiotics to prove signs, and just a sign is something that has a signifier and a signifier.
You need to prove that supersedes use.
Yeah, which was what I was saying. It's dependent on society, right? And therefore the code determines value, like Baudrillard says.
Use. None of this means that it supersedes use.
No, it's just saying that if the code determines a use value, because it's dependent on an actor, right, to create the use value. Mm-hmm. This is all Baudrillard is saying. He's saying the code determines it, and the code creates signs, so we can establish that sign goes beyond that. And even then, we can talk about how, and you've even said this, utility is fetishized as a sign.
Oh yeah, but again, like Marx doesn't disagree with any of this. Like none of this.
And I mean,
in
mass, the conclusion within post-Fordist societies, do you really think there isn't, like, in a post-Fordist society? Because this is what we're talking about. I'm not talking about farmers exchanging wheat and cotton and the 18 what? I don't remember.
It's not like the point of this isn't that. That's just to explain rudimentary exchange values, and which are based upon a whole host of things like. That can still play into money price. And
well, price doesn't equal value. You obviously haven't watched Richard Wolff. I'm sorry, get wrecked. To quote Richard Wolff, socialism is when the government does stuff. And the more the government does, the more socialist it is. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism.
He understands Marxism.
He won. That's it. That's over.
I have the temptations to go and debate a Marxist on like Omegle and actually use that unironically is so tempting, but I never fucking see them. I never see them. Okay. Never.
But no, only Armenian king means.
Exactly. Long live Armenia. He disappeared. Bro, I need to get my flute ready. Don't worry. This is about to be a concert.
Like, I don't deny the importance of like sign, or even like to an extent the importance of nostalgia or repressed desire in exchange. And so this isn't why I'm like a classical Marxist, because I think that there needed to be updating to it, obviously. I think theory of value thus far has been the most accurate in representing commodity exchange.
Let me get this. This is, if anyone's wondering, I'll just put this in the chat. I was wondering what the responses were to.
It's the same I said to you when you were still sort of in the sign exchange and all of that. It all sounds well and good. Having these sort of radical theories, but at the end of the day, You need to look at what is actually reflected in the real world.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can also establish this, right? So if we can establish that not only are signs commodities, but individual actors in the market are like signs, I think that would make it falsifiable. Would you agree? Because sign would then influence every market exchange. What?
You're gonna have to repeat yourself. I kind of.
Okay. So if I could prove that individuals are signs, would that not prove that signs, like, if literally sign is a priori? I know I'm not using that right. I'm just a prior to. Don't get mad, okay?
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, I mean, I would think that would.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, and I have a reputation to this, which is linked to everyone. If you're wondering why I, Sadian based, because as you know, me and Finn are both based sadists. I mean, I have a few videos of special videos from Finn.
That's gonna be misinterpreted completely.
That's and Sade would have wanted that. We're being transgressive, but if you want a good reason to why we should deny like Baudrillard from a Marxist perspective, this little thing I linked, it's called Baudrillard's Theory of Value, a baby in the Marxist bathwater. And there's this Japanese semiotic Marxist that like imbues sign value with use value, and it's good. But then when talking about individuals as signs,
You just said Japanese Marxist, and all I could think of was a Kishio.
Stop. Paul Cockshot enters the chat. I'm about to debunk something on YouTube, baby. Okay.
Paul Cockshot was way to deny price equalization.
Yeah, Paul Cockshot on his way to be like, oh, you think labor theory of value is wrong because it's supply and demand? You're wrong. Supply and demand is false. Get that shit out of here. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about why I disagree with this because of, again, the article. And this is why this article that it's why I don't think Baudrillard's sign value is good. But we can establish two things from at least my readings of Baudrillard. One, individuals are signs because signs achieve value by reflecting other signs. Subjects, that is individuals in the simulacrum market, the market of simulation, again, we live in a society of simulation, achieve their ideas about value, how they value things. They achieve their value by other subjects in the marketplace. So if signs get their ideas about sign values from other signs, and subjects in the simulacrum market get their ideas about value from other signs, that is other individuals, they fit that characteristic. But two, sign play. So sign play is just how signs reflect things on other signs, right? They have a little play or whatever. Sign play allows for what Baudrillard uses in the consumer society, which is Foucault's genealogical method. So we can do genealogical investigations into the nature of sign value to empirically falsify it, which I'm looking into now. But yeah, go look at the article. Why did you unlink it, John? Racism.
Cracker says what?
Oh yeah, wait, you're literally a cracker. Bye.
Evan has taken tyrannical ownership of this.
Yes.
You're losing.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, John. I'm just waiting for him to join.
We need to post on Freudo-Marxists again. We need to put something up.
I'm working on a video on the death drive. But that went into 1,000.
I'll do a video on how memories can drive commodity production. Oh wait, did we get into a really, really special theory about our idea of the state?
No. Hey, no doing any naughty stuff, John.
When are we gonna? We're gonna have to drop that at some point.
No, we don't. What are you talking about? No, we don't.
A Sadian state.
That's the thing. No, but Thai develops and plausible. Please tell me this is no, but Thai develops like a practical idea of transfer progressive Sadian republic. But yeah, no. Weep is the moderator. Ethan will debate anyone, join.
I think I'm gonna.
No, yeah, no, Finn's backing. He's scared to debate people.
I'm gonna blast.
Racism.
All right, it's time. I don't know. My flute